Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here. All right, I want to start off with, it's going to be a lot of stuff today. Take notes if you want, or play it again if you have to. But when you do, I think it'll help them and it'll be beneficial. So basically the title, I hope you read it. We're going to get down and dirty. I'm going to go into the truth that most people don't like to hear. But I'm telling you, it's as true as I possibly can come up with in my reality and my experiences in my whole life. So let's start real simple. I grew up in New Jersey. Had a hard time when I was little. Had a hard time all through my life. I was married 3 times. Almost had a child 3 times. Due to my partner, my wife, decided to get rid of it before it was born. So that never happened. I studied many religions, had many good spiritual experiences, as well as some really crazy ones. Had 5 death experiences. And I did just about anything a person could want or not even want. From seeing a UFO, being close to one, being close to an alien, being next to a Bigfoot, having 5 death experiences, spent 40 years traveling in and out of my body. So with deities and angels, finding my guides, all those kind of things. So I can explain a lot of things that most people can't. Most people read about and didn't experience. So I'm trying to give you the best of all worlds. If you don't like something I'm saying, I'm sorry. If you got questions, please text me. The chat room's open. Or you can email me at hawksblood1aol.com. I do reply to my mail sooner or later, usually sooner, depending if anything major is going on in my life. So I'd like to start with, I'm not going to go into Trump until the end if I have to and if I have time. I really don't want to bring my energy to that level. So with that being said, let's talk about the truth of reality. What is your reality? Where are you really? We can go into all the programmed ideas that are out there, from Buddha to scientists to medicine people to shamans, whether we're in the real world or not, whether we're in the matrix, how real is it? How real are we? Are we a dream? Are we just an experience? And all those kind of questions you should ask yourself and try to get answers for yourself. And by that, I mean experiencing things that can help you truly understand that at whatever level you're at, very few people are even close to the same level of each other. And so whatever I say, you might not understand it, might be over your head, might be way below you, however you are, where you are in your spiritual unfoldment. I do say this before we get into it. We're not spiritual. When you become spiritual, you leave this reality. I'm not talking about different realms and different dimensions of this reality or this realm, meaning the universes and galaxies and all that. I'm not talking the other side of this reality, because that's still part of this reality or this realm. Leaving that, you go into the astral plane, which is a separate reality, separate realm and dimension. There's multiple dimensions here, the same as there are multiple dimensions there. So there's a lot to understand when you really get into it and want to understand about life and death. And that's all that matters. I mean, you're going to live to your 125 max and you're going to die. Your body's going to die. So where do you go in between that? What do you do in between that? Where do you go after that? That's the important part. What do you believe to be true? What do you want to be true? And how do you have to live making that your reality? Well, for starters, I want to start off slow, and then we'll go into different things later. Are we in a dream? Are we in one person's thought? Are we all one thought? I mean, they like to make you believe a certain thing. Like, we are not real. We're just, the word that they're using is a consciousness. And I know that's debatable, but what scientists or what religious person, spiritualists you're dealing with will describe and say. The idea of where all one consciousness brings God to the level of being that. All right. Uh, Now, I don't want to go into too many ways. I kind of go in a lot of circles to get back to where I'm going, but in reality, time exists here for our bodies, not for our soul, but for our bodies. People don't live past 80 or 90. And if you do, then you start seeing your family die and everything else happening. And if you really want to stay here during that time frame, guess what? I think you're weird and pretty sick. But outside of that, while you're here, what are you here to learn? What are you here to do? Not the programmed ideas that you're fed, not the ideas that you're taught all through school and religion that why you're here, but why are you really here? Can anything help us? Well, not the president, not the Pope, not any master teacher. Some of these speakers out there can give you ways to work at finding your truth, but they can't give you that truth. They can give you ideas of what it might be, what it could be, and what you could expect, but they can't give you your truth. We get into a whole bunch of things revolving around that also. But let's start with one thing at a time. Well, how do we become a teacher? I mean, there's so many kind of teachers out there from religion, cooking, you name it. How do you become a teacher? A teacher of what and why? Well, most things nowadays, you have to go to college for 4 years. But I mean, if you're going to be a kindergarten teacher, how much you really got to learn compared to if you're going to be an 8th grade teacher. And then if you're going to be a high school teacher, or what about a college teacher? Well, the subjects you'll be talking about will be much more complicated. So that means you have to have much more knowledge about that. So that alone determines how many years you're going to be in school before you can be a teacher of whatever the subject is, even exercise and things like that. Herbs, I mean, you have to learn and go to schools for that knowledge. Is any of that knowledge beneficial to soul? Soul being what you truly are, not this body, what stays inside it until the body dies, that's growing and learning and teaching through it as well. Well, when you specialize in something, like if you go to college 4 years and you want to be a college teacher, guess all the knowledge you have to have on specific subjects. But if you become a lower grade teacher, you have to have the general knowledge of math, spelling, history, and geography. But when you're talking about building a house and construction or electronics, it's a different school. We have to learn the ideas that function and work and were proven to work on this reality. All right. Are you building a generator? Well, you have to understand electricity. To build things of a house, you have to understand bricks and wood, nails, and things like that. Each one has things you learn, but they're all physical reality. All those things. So are you already made up, or are you already programmed and locked into a specific way you have to be, way you have to act, and what you're doing for a living? Remember, at any point, you could always change that. If you feel you're doing it and it's beneficial to the world, great. If you're feeling it because you have to do it, that's not a great situation. It's not a good situation. And you can change it. Now, when all these speakers say, be the best you can. Sure, you want to be the best you can. And how do you do that? By trying. You're looking for a job, you keep going looking for a job. Just don't sit there and say, well, job's going to come to me. I mean, that's the best you can. You are the best you can be. But the way you move forward from there is what you do in the moment, in the time frame that you're in, meaning the here and now, and planning a future. What do you want to be in the future? Do you want to be a farmer all your life? Do you want to be a teacher all your life? Do you want to be retired? What's your goals? What's your desires? You should work for them. I mean, but create realistic goals. Not everybody that becomes a millionaire says, I'm going to be a millionaire. The simplest invention, simplest idea can make you a millionaire. So it's not about thinking about the money situation. Yes, everybody's programmed to believe You look for a job that makes the most money, a doctor, a lawyer. I mean, sure. But is that what you want to do with your life? Do you want to become people apart? Do you want to be cleaning up bodies that are dirty, filthy, sick, throwing up, and all those kind of things? What do you want to do? Well, you want to help people? Are you programmed to believe that's going to make you spiritual? It doesn't. You can say, well, no, it doesn't change your spiritual growth at all. Everything you do here doesn't. And I hate to tell you that. And that's the truth, downright truth. Well, I'm a doctor, I help people. I'm a bartender and I help people. They're all depressed and I'm helping them get out of their depression. You can make an excuse or an idea or a reason behind whatever you do to justify it. Now, I will say this. There's some things that do help reality and help people. Music's one of the most important things on this planet. It always has been. I mean, it started with drums and went into other instruments, like a flute and things like that, slowly became more apt to the human race. But sound reflects the inner awareness of soul. Because the sound coming goes from here all the way back to God. All right. Now, the light is a little different, but I don't want to talk about the light yet. So what do you want to do? You want to be a teacher of music. That's a good field. Do you want to be a musician? That's a good field. But when you get into the mainstream, and I was just talking about this to somebody, and you're on that programmed platform where you have to go from place to place to play, and it becomes hard and draining and taxing the body. And then drugs become involved, and then you become slightly deterred from where you really wanted to go and what you're really doing. And it does affect most singers and performers. So with every good thing, there's always a negative thing that rides alongside it. So whatever you think is so positive, you can find it, oh, well, I don't think of the negative. But there is. There's always another side to whatever you do. Now, people that say, I'm going to leave my body parts to somebody. Well, I'm going to leave my eyes to somebody, and a person gets them and they're a mass murderer. Are you part of that karma? Of course you are. What you do with yourself is karma to you. It could affect the world, it could affect one person, but it's still karma. If you stay in a box and do nothing, you're not creating karma, believe it or not. You're not helping the world, but you're not creating karma. If you punch yourself in the face every day while you're in the box, you're still not creating karma. All right, there's certain laws that exist in this physical reality which most speakers never talk about. The most important one, which I'll say all the time, is the law of non-interference, because everybody interrupts that law and abuses it. Meaning, you interfere with somebody else's life. You meet a girlfriend, meet a boyfriend. It's already, how'd you meet? I mean, you go online and you tell your person this and you meet them. Is that karma? No. When you build a false character and personality, yes, it's wrong and evil. So we twist a lot of things to suit ourselves, and it's usually not the other person that we're working for, and it's not for spiritual growth. Sex in no way has a place in spiritual growth. Even going back to the first religion, Hinduism, sex was one of the big parts of it. Kundalini, Kama Sutra, all these words using sexual energy. Well, that's because the mind experiences the most outrageous thrills and energy here on this planet. But I'll tell you this, you ever have an out-of-body experience, leaving this physical body, all those things can't come close to it. And you're not using the 5 senses of the body. Taste, smell, and things like that. All those kind of feelings, emotions, and you're not dealing with that. So it's 10 times more incredible, and it could go up to 100 times or 1,000 times greater. So when you're hooked on these things, it slows you down and keeps you grounded to this reality, which is where you don't want to be. Oh, no, you're not here to stay here. You're not here to learn everything you can here, because everything you learn here is not going to help you when you let go of the body. What foods are good for you, what foods are not good for you. Dirty water is not good for you. How to clean the body, and all these little things. Your body, we'll start with your astral body. doesn't have to do any of those things. Doesn't have to brush its teeth. Doesn't have to go to the bathroom. Doesn't have to do all these things that we're so locked into on this planet with this body. You got an old car. You got to put gas in it. You got to put oil in it. You got a new car. You just have to recharge the battery. So technology changes, but it doesn't change where you're going. You can only get around this planet, or now we're more concerned about going to other planets. Why? All those things, I don't want to get into them in detail, because they're all taking man's attention of why he's even here. I mean, we came from other worlds to build ships to go back to the other worlds. Every race came from somewhere and not the same place. Black race, red race, white race, yellow race. And colors were assigned to them for reasons. We're all shades of one color, brown. Basically, brown's a mix of colors. We got 3 primary colors on this reality. So it's a mixture of them colors, how dark or how light you are. That's all. There's no such thing as yellow people or red people. I mean, as far as color in this reality. But I will tell you this, and it's going to contradict that. In the beginning, when Atlantis was active and well and alive, there were 9 colored races. I'm talking about blue, which is a primary color, purple, green. All right. So there was other colors that were colors. But when you talk about light brown, darker brown, lighter brown, and white, white's not a color. So there's no such thing as a white race. So all these little things you're programmed and twisted and believe, and everybody's so different. Well, we're all conditioned and programmed to think like certain people want us to be. You can't be prejudiced. Why? Why can't you be prejudiced? All right. And mankind became that and still is at every level. Even to give blacks their rights, or any race their rights, is prejudiced. Because if they came from another country or came from another planet, do you have to agree and accept their ideas? Muslim people have their own belief system. Do we have to be accepting to that? When they start coming into the United States and creating the Sharia law in the United States, which they're doing, suddenly you're going to become prejudiced. And I don't care what color you think you are. There's things that happen, and when you say you can't be prejudiced, it's just because we abuse somebody so bad, the Native people, the Black people, even the Irish people. So we're abusive people. And usually it's the Spanish and white people, so-called white, meaning the British, the English. European races usually stayed there until, unlike the Spanish, when they came here. So you can go into all that stuff. But does any of that have anything to do with spirituality? Religions are locked into programmed ideas from certain words that were written by certain people, meaning the Bible, the Emerald tablets, the Sumerian tablets, and the Urantia, and all those kind of things that were written that have programmed ideas that people are supposed to accept. And one person who really changed and screwed up the UFO world was Zecharia Sitchin. And when you talk about the Anunnaki, like they're a spiritual race, they made us, and all those things, it's all lies, and it's all not beneficial to put your attention on it or even to believe in it. It doesn't help you spiritually. Give your power over to anything other than God, you lose it. Now, I'm going to go into a lot of different things. I just wanted to start one thing at a time. Back to teachers. They'll try to teach you anything. Try to make money off of teaching you whatever they feel. Now, when you meet with a deity or an angel or a guide, your spiritual guides, they each have different things for you. Your guides are the ones that help you learn and become aware of the inner world, where you're going to go. Angels come and go for specifically protection and warning and things like that. They don't stay there all the time. Deities can become your teacher. Not the way in the physical reality, but in the inner worlds, they can. They take you and show you and let you create and do things. So it's a different kind of teaching, which you cannot do here. So teachers in one way are good, and then when you look at certain teachers, they're definitely not beneficial to the human race. We'll go into schools and things like that. But teachers have their set salary. And when you go into a psychiatrist or psychologist, they make a lot more money. But there again, what are they programmed to believe? I mean, they're teachers. They're going to teach you to live the way they want you to, or the way they're programmed to teach you to live. Both of them lack one thing: truth. They live by a programmed idea, which they get out of college, saying, well, people do this, they're that. When people do that, they're this. When people are this, they're that. I mean, it's all hogwash. There's no truth about what happens to a person. And it's simple. There's simple laws that actually affect all reality. If you're abused when you're little, it affects who you are, period. Take a psychologist or psychiatrist to understand that. All right. But the things that put them out of commission, or should, is abduction, alien abduction, government abduction, possession, mind control. They are real things, and they affect a large number of people, and most people don't even know the effect of them. Even mind control was done to us when we were little on TV. Subliminal suggestions in commercials and things like that. It was all mind programming. So, and because you become an effect of it, does that make it good or bad? It's bad. Again, the spiritual law, and the most important spiritual law that exists in this realm, is the law of non-interference. They're interfering with everybody's reality. So, government a beneficial thing? No. Programming a good thing? No. Well, we can eliminate bad things? No. So, those things are real. I don't know if you know or met people that were actually abducted, possessed by an entity. I did exorcisms. I did ghost busting. I was involved with all that as well. It's all real. Just because you don't give it attention and don't believe it doesn't mean it's not affecting you. Ghosts can do things around you. Spirits, the lost souls, can do a lot of things to you. And now, I'm going to say this, which is really, should be an eye-opener. Poltergeists, bad demons and entities are hurting people now. It was never, there was 1 in a million, but now it's a lot more, and it's a lot more dangerous what they do. Even to the point of killing people, making people kill themselves. Do psychiatrists help with that? No, because they don't believe in those things. They can't help you with something they don't know. They only help people with things you know. And I seem to know a lot of what I know. And that's all I can teach or talk about. And that's all I will. I won't tell you how to fix a car. I won't tell you how to build a house, because I don't know much about it. I did things about it and tried. Never want to work on a car, and I'm not good at that. I built an extension to a house, which I wouldn't want anybody else to do the way I did it. I mean, I had to learn everything I did step by step by myself. Most of my life, everything I learned, I did it the hard way myself. I never had a true person that I could rely on, except my grandmother when I was real little. I had a lot of things where I see things backwards, and I couldn't keep a thought for a long period of time. I was so active. I don't even want to use the proper words because I have to say letters, and I say letters backwards. So, but through that, having a father figure, I didn't have. My grandfather was the only figure I had that I actually respected. But I didn't get to be with him that much. He died, and when I was young, and I kind of had no role model after that. But going to school, nobody ever helped me. I did science fair projects. I worked on them by myself, while these kids I went to school with, like Lasser and the person that invented the first moon probe and all those kind of people. But their father was working in NASA and things like that. So tell me they came out of the clear blue sky and invented a moon probe. So I did things myself, but I did learn things that 99% of people do not. How to meet with your guides, how to travel with aliens, beings, deities, angels, how to work with them, learn the difference, learn about protection, learn all the things that people have no clue. You can take every New Age spiritual speaker out there, and I'll challenge them when they're going into the world. How do they protect themselves from a being or an entity and things like that? They don't go past the astral plane. Most souls, we'll go into that in deeper, but most souls do not have the ability to go past it. And we'll get into why. All right. I want you to know I'm doing this from my truest self of who I am, what I experienced, what I went through. My life's been hard. I'm not saying everybody's life is hard, but mine's been different outside of the physical reality, meaning a foot away from a Bigfoot, 10 feet away from an alien, about 100 feet away from a ship that was coming to abduct my brother, and things like that. So there's things that I prove to myself. I can't prove that to everybody. When I was in the hospital, my brother was there, and a friend became a friend in the hospital, was right across the way in the room with. So it's like things that I experienced starting at about 6 years old. I mean, I could throw in other bad things like sexual abuse and things like that, which I also had. So when people say, well, you never experienced this, I experienced just about everything you want and don't want in life. Luckily, I'm still in one piece right now, pretty much. I'm 67, I'll be 68 in a month or 2 months. So I made it this far. I never wanted to or never thought I would. But I'm at the point where I didn't want to see the destruction of the planet. I didn't want to see mankind destroy themselves, which they're really close to doing now at a high level. So having my death experiences helped me a real lot. Working with beings and angels and deities was incredible. But it's not about here. You can't take the things from there and put them here, the same as you can't take the things from here and put them there. People don't understand that. You die and you go to heaven and you're sitting with your family. No, you're not. That won't happen. It won't last for a long period of time. If they even got to stay there. When you die, if your mother and father died 20 years, 30 years before that, guess what? They're not going to be there. They're already probably reincarnated. If they're there, they've already got their whole mission. They're not going to be able to sit there and hang out with you forever now. All the little things you're programmed to believe are so twisted and so far from the mainstream truth. All right. Like I said, I can only talk about actual experiences that I spent. I spent a lot of time in the astral world before I was able to go past it. And when you do, things just get 10 times better. And then when you get out of the astral plane completely, it's 1,000 times better. And you get pulled further and further away from this reality. The programmed ideas, thoughts, and reasonings for being here. Which if all the people had the reason why they're here, they wouldn't be here no more. And that's where things come into play, which people don't like to talk about, like Satan and his army. They're real. Well, they're just mind. No, everything's in your mind, then you're just a mind thought, and you're just a thought. Well, you're useless to anything. You think a God would need your useless thought? No. To think God is that thought? You have a pretty programmed, twisted, retarded, destructive, evil God. If you think God allows this world to do what it does without a reason, you better open your eyes and think about that. You're in hell. This planet is hell. This realm is hell. Why do you think these creatures and entities and all these other things are here? Because they couldn't move on, or they can't. I will say this, which people can't talk about either, that most of these entities, creatures, whatever you want to call them, aliens, are reincarnating into this reality when they die. Realize they don't have feelings and emotions. They don't even know what it's like for that. So they want to come and experience that and see how good or bad it is. I mean, it's good first 2-3 times around. If you had 100 reincarnations, guess what? Love isn't the same anymore. Everything about this planet is not the same. You're bored, for the simplest word. Bored being here. Oh, well, there's what? Go fishing, go flying on a plane, walk around the mountains. What? What's so different? What can you really do? Walk? Play with your hands and do little things? Can you move mountains? Can you create worlds? Can you do any of those kind of things? Of course not. Can aliens do that? Of course not. Going in and out of this dimension and the different realms of this reality, not realm, sorry, wrong word, in the different dimensions of this reality, you're still here. I don't care what you say. The alternate side of this reality is the opposite side. Well, you call it what you want. There's 3 realms. Sorry, I used the wrong word again. 3 dimensions to each realm. The physical, the astral, mental, causal, etheric, and then the soul plane where soul dwells. But let's stick with the physical. Each reality has 3 within itself. So it's a 369 theory. All right, those numbers play. They were always important for that reason. But when they say 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, 5th dimension, 6th dimension, no. We're in, actually, if you want to call it a word, we're in the 5th dimension or 6th dimension. Materializing and going through a wall. How many people can do that? How many people can levitate their bodies? All right, but they can. We did have all those abilities. The idea of levitating, please prove it. Not one person on this planet could prove that they really can do it. There was a Buddha in some mountain. This guy searched the world trying to find somebody that could actually levitate. And he went to this temple, and he wasn't allowed to go across the room. He had to stay by the door while this Lama, whatever he was, sitting on the floor, rose about 2 inches. And he wouldn't let him come near him or anything like that either. So again, prove it. And here's the way I look at things. If you could levitate a penny, you can levitate a car. If you can levitate a car, you can levitate a mountain. So each thing that we say we have, we don't have it. So I don't want to sit with that too much. But the control of this reality that we're in is really bad right now. The truth of why you're here is missing. And you're programmed to think, well, to save lives? No. 150,000 people die every day. 300,000 come in every day. What are you doing? Helping 10 people or even 1 million people? So what? A couple days of people. This reality is up to 7.4 billion people, and it's growing, not decreasing. Even with the plague and the virus and all these things, we're still multiplying, and the number is growing. But realize when you have such a large number, you drop a bomb in the old days, you kill maybe 100 people? Drop a bomb today, you kill 10 million people? Big difference. So the more we populate the planet, the more people die in a situation at any given time. So we have to think ahead, and hopefully you're trying to follow me a little. Why are you here? Think about it, please. Think in it. Put it on a piece of paper. Why are you here, really? To save your children? From what? Can you save them from a car accident? Can you save them from a disease? What can you save them from? Going out at night and getting mugged in the street, maybe. So the limited protection that we can actually offer other people. How much can the president protect everybody in the United States? Not much. How much can the governor or the mayor protect the people of his own town? They can't. The virus can just walk into his town or city and wipe out many of the people and make everybody sick. So would you call that a heaven? We have horrible words for the wrong conception of what they are created for and mean. Anybody that creates a word probably has no clue to what it meant when a person created the word spiritual. And somebody says it didn't exist in the old days. It wasn't understood because it wasn't that word. A famous speaker, Eckhart Tolle, was doing a lecture, just recently came out, and he's going to be doing a workshop on being the light. He takes words that Jesus said and twists them, takes parts of it to make what he wants it to mean, leaving out the most important parts of what he was copying and saying that helped him this and that and all the other things. Everybody's a light, bright light, dull light, whatever. But what you do with that light's critical. Shine it in somebody's eyes. Shine it on a plant. I mean, there's different things the way the light works. But our perception of we're light, so that makes us good people. Bad people flock to good people. The light draws people to it. Turn on a light at nighttime. Every bug goes flying to it if they can. So there's a lot of things that you've got to realize relate to what's happening as far as your spiritual growth. All right, people think that some people in the science world can say this is a natural food or a plant and that they're healthy. They can't use it, can't call it a medicine. Only certain people can call things a medicine, and when they call something a medicine, it's taken away as a food. Now, this is to give you an idea. All right, the poppy plant, you can't have it, you can't own it, because it's considered a medicine, one of the most highly expensive, needed medicines on the planet. So when they say like cinnamon or nutmeg, it's a medicine, no, they can't say that. And they won't let you say that. No matter, you can say, well, it probably helps or it could help or it might help. You can't say it cures, because their medicines that they give you don't cure anything. Out of 1 million medicines, about 2 of them, 3 of them cure and actually eliminate a disease. We have the cure for leprosy. But you think, and this is an imaginary story. There's more people with leprosy now than there has ever been. But nobody will to where the people need it. That shows you our spiritual awareness. There is none. Our spiritual growth. There is none. Thinking you can sit by yourself and do nothing is also not a spiritual place to be or go. I mean, meditation's a good way, but you got to leave meditation, because meditation, you're eliminating thinking. And not thinking of the mind, thinking of soul. Soul and mind are separate. Most people will debate that. We're just mind. We're just consciousness. No, we're not. If we were one consciousness, we'd all eat the same food, wear the same clothes, do the same things. We're different. I mean, if you have a consciousness, you wouldn't kill people. I mean, all these things, if they relate to one thing, is ridiculous. We're all one. Why would I be one with anybody on this planet? They're not at the level that I'm at. I wouldn't want to be in their vibration. And they don't have a clue to the higher realm. So how beneficial is being in that consciousness going to help me? It's not. And I'm hoping that you understand where you are is not beneficial, because you're not thinking about moving further. You could be happy where you are, which is not the best thing. Am I happy where I'm at? No, I'm living on planet Earth. I'm looking forward to going into the higher worlds and staying there, not coming back here again. You know, and then people say, well, my family. When you die, which you will, you're leaving your family here. All of them. You're going to come back and what? Help them as a baby? Being born into your family as a baby is helping them? Do you really think so? And then the whole idea, like all these psychics trying to make you think that your family is protecting you. Tell me a case when, I'm not saying there's 1 in a million where a spirit came and said, don't get in the car, it's going to blow up, and the car blows up. I mean, things like that. How often does that happen? When a psychic tells you what your family's saying to you, oh, they forgive you, they love you. That's basically all they do. 90% of the speakers are telling you love is the most important thing on this planet. I'm not saying it could be. It could be. If everybody accepted it and accepted it at the same level and same way. Everybody's conception of love is different, which means how they perceive and do and act within that love is different. Cheating and all those kind of things, beating your wife or a husband, all those little things. That's a different concept of love than truly loving something or somebody. Your cat, your dog shows you unconditional love. People don't. People can't. You could hurt a dog, beat it, and it'll still come back and it still loves you. But I'm not saying it's a good thing, because the dog can get beat up by some families and they just live in torture and they really don't know. But they know that their owner feeds them, pets them once in a while, and things like that. But I don't want to get into that. But let's get a little further down. I got a lot to get through, and my time's running out really fast. I mean, I don't have years to say everything I want to say. All right. Moving on from plants. How does one become a scientist? And why? Go to college 4 years, go to another college after that for another 4 years, get your bachelor's degree, And now you're going to create something important for reality. Another medicine. When you go into the scientific world and things like that, electronics and quantum physics is destroying the planet. Whether you want to know that or not, do you know what quantum physics really is? Quantum electronics, and what that means. I mean, time travel and those words, are they beneficial? Of course not. They haven't used it wisely ever. And if you change things, you change the reality. And when you go back to the past and change it, you're changing the future. So it's not a good thing to play with. It wasn't meant to be played with. But man will play with anything he possibly can until he finds out that it's not the right thing. The atom bomb, neutron bomb, all those things that they play with and created are beneficial, destructive to the planet. When they play with the medicine, a drug, when they created truth serum and things like that, chemtrails, they've been using chemtrails since the early 50s. Things that are dangerous. You think spiritual people, aware people would not use or allow. A person in politics, meaning should be backed by all the people of who he's governing. Like the president should be aware of all the people in the United States. And he isn't. And he can't be. And to believe he is a pathetic, egotistical idea. When a person becomes a politician, their ego is already saying they're better than people because they know what all people want. Nobody knows what another person really wants. Most people want a relationship. Then when a relationship, most people want a child. It's not about all these other things, spaceships and universes and all that other stuff. If people actually knew how much the United States spends on the space program alone, it would blow your brain out. Because there's more money spent there than any other program in the United States. It's not helping children. It's not helping adults. It's not helping anybody. It's wasting money. And countries working on bombs and all these other things, like playing with a virus. Are they beneficial to anybody? Of course not. Where's mankind going? Nowhere good. Are humans accepting it? Yes. Are they fighting it? No. These riots are not beneficial for anybody. You want to change the law, you change the law. You want to get involved with things, you do it the right way. You don't do things the wrong way. And the wrong way means you hurt somebody else. You're invading somebody else's space. If everybody used the law of non-interference, the world would be perfect. Because you couldn't make a bomb to blow up somebody else. You couldn't make a gun to shoot somebody else. Even the idea of carrying a gun now. It was created to shoot native people in the United States. That's all. And people were allowed to have them because they were blaming the native people for anything that went wrong. And then when the North and South fought, what? Fighting each other? I mean, we have the most ridiculous scenarios in the United States. And then slavery. I mean, it started with the Irish. They brought Irish slaves in here and children. But 300 children in as slaves. I mean, where do we go? How do we think? Pathetic. Because nobody has a clue to spiritual truth. On the religious side, spiritual side, whatever you want to call it. And I say, on the truth side of the coin, Jesus came to teach, not what the Bible says. Not what people in the Bible said he taught. That's not why he came here. He never said he was God. Never. I mean, there's one sentence in the Bible where he says, I am that. But I am that. It's not the way they perceived it. Because they were ignorant people, sorry to use the word. They were farmers and fishermen, most of the people. What did they know about anything? You catch a fish, you clean it and eat it. You make your wife cook the dinner, clean the house. I mean, women were never respected, ever in history. They were used as sex objects, always, 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 always. More so now, just for a name, a male name, to keep their names going in life. It's sad. Sex is the number one thing, has always been since Atlantis went down. I'm not going to go into the details of that right now because that's a whole story within itself. And I know too many people brainwashed, programmed in the UFO world that think they know something and they believe it, like the Anunnaki made us and changed us. But we were always human. When we were brought here as humans. We were conditioned to kill, rape, abuse, and sacrifice. It wasn't a natural instinct. Most alien races don't kill each other. The ones that do are the ones that are in power. Because if you got a machine gun, you're standing in front of 10 people, who do you think's got the power? The 10 people or the person with the machine gun? So you have to look at reality and try to understand it so that it can help you grow, not to bring you backwards in your life. Because when we start becoming aware of our situation, why, where we're going, you realize you're not moving forward spiritually. Just praying doesn't make you spiritual. And what are you praying for? World peace? Really? In hell, I'm going to pray for peace. Hey, Satan, let's love everybody. Got the wrong world, wrong planet, wrong time. All right. What are you praying for? Everybody to get better? All right. We'll go into that when we talk about psychics, but let's go a little bit further. Doctors and lawyers are the highest paid. All right. Do you want to work doing it? Like I said, you have to have morals when you doesn't have morals, do they? They do what they do to get money, not to protect people, not to help people, just to get paid. If you're a defense lawyer for a murderer, all right, you know you're protecting somebody guilty, but you're going to do everything you can to get him off, to get him free. That's karma, incredible karma, which they'll deal with in the next lifetime, pretty many more lifetimes as well. Every negative person that's released, or a killer, a murderer, rapist, they let free is their karma. Anything they do after that triples their karma. People don't want to know that, I'm helping him get away from being a mass murderer, killer, rapist, whatever he did. All right, now, the system's not perfect in any way, but it hurts the innocent people that get thrown into a system. If 10 people say they watch you kill somebody, you go to jail. Guilty or not. But, and I know the horrible thing is it does relate to your karma. Why you get certain things in life. Well, that's not my karma. Oh, yes, it is. Everything in this reality that you step into is part of your karma. Because if you grew out of the karma, you wouldn't have came back in the first place. So, karma is a hard word to accept, to deal with. But it's even harder when you realize you're not going to get rid of it easily. Knowing how guilty you are inside, you can start understanding how to change it. Knowing the things you did wrong in other lifetimes can help you understand this lifetime. So when you don't understand your past lives, you lose all that information and knowledge that's so learned by going through it. But it doesn't have to do it. It doesn't have to do any of that. But we take the long road instead of the short road always. Morals, human race has erased the word out of the dictionary. They put immoral, and that's what we are. So how do we move forward? We don't. Now, when we talk about, all right, a scientist, they work to prove things, and they prove things their own way. And whatever they prove today, 10 years from now will be proven wrong. Einstein was wrong about many things, and some of the most important things. Tesla, on the other hand, was working with an alien race that's from distant knowledge than we have, and gave us all the weapons to destroy the planet. And we think it's beneficial because free energy, like being free. We're going to talk about being free again in a second, but what does that really mean? And well, let's talk about a master or a shaman. How do you become a master or a shaman? Well, the first thing is to brainwash one person. Influence them to believe you're something that you're not. Nobody's better than anybody. Not on this planet. All right? Make them believe that you have a power, an ability. And It's easy to do that. And I'm going to try to bring a couple words together because, I don't want to keep you here forever and I know you get bored. But how do you do that? You get people to believe that you can control the weather, control disease, sickness, and things like that. You get two people. You just need two people. Oh, you heal them. Like this guy that doesn't speak, he just stares at people and everybody's going, I'm getting healed, I'm getting healed. I went to him, I saw him twice personally. I watched people around the room staring at him, like shaking their heads, and everybody, things happen because you allow it to. Nobody else. A healing and things like that. Most healings are temporary, which we'll get into. But when you look around and you accept things, you're a part of the sickness, not a cure for it. And the world's getting sicker and sicker every day. Do you think aliens are going to come here and help us? We'll talk about that. But they're not. They can't. The idea that they can't communicate or work with us, they can't change our reality, yes, they can. And they have always tried to. All right. And that's why many races were taken away from this planet. And then that's why Satan's in charge of it now. Not aliens, not the president, not the multi-tycoons and billionaires and trillionaires. They think they are. But who's controlling their thoughts? If we were living under spiritual billionaires and trillionaires, you think the world would be what it is? Of course not. It wouldn't be that because they'd be helping the world. Nobody would be dying of hunger, starvation, and abuse, and all those things, homeless. And it's sad. 50% of the planet's homeless, starving, completely in underwaged pay and things like that. So to think that we're doing all this great spiritual work, I love to challenge these New Age spiritual fools. Any one of them. I'm not going to go into names right now, but I had some on my show. I worked with some of them. But they won't come on my show because they know they can't talk about truth with their imaginary stories they made up. People like Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle. You could talk about the Pope. I mean, all these people, controlled ideas who control people. It's sad. In the New Age world, there's so many spiritualists, so-called, claiming that they can bring us into a new level of awareness. Really? Are we aware how much the planet's starving? No. We got 250,000 people following us right now. I listened to a lady. She has 70 million people following her. I listened to her. What she said was interesting and important. So there's people out there with truth. And why I'm not going anywhere? Because I give you too much of the truth. She talks about living life. And when you want to hear about living life and being happy, that's all people care about. Not about dying. They don't want to hear about death. They want to hear about their family died and that are dead and missing and gone and all those. They want to hear those words. They're afraid of them. They don't want to know what's really going on. So when they go to a psychic, oh, they love you, they miss you, that makes them happy. Then they can forget that they beat their mother up before she died, or the father, whatever. All the little things that go by. Oh, they forgive me, I forgive them, and I didn't get to say I'm sorry, and all those kind of things. Which is delusional. It doesn't matter. That's not the karma you created. Soul leaves, it's got its own karma to deal with from then on, not yours. Because what you do now isn't going to change that soul's karma. Especially if they already reincarnated again, they got their karma list set up for them for the rest of their life in this lifetime. I work with that. I'm not going to go into details. But I people that I know came back already. And in a different form. One was a female and came back as a male. And you don't have to stay the same sex either. Well, how do you become spiritual? You don't. Sorry, people. You can go to all the spiritualists, listen to them tell you are, and blah, blah, blah. You're not spiritual. You wouldn't be here. Okay, cleanliness is next to godliness. You ever hear that phrase? And it always bothered me when I heard that. Because men and women throw up, spit, poop, pee, and all those kind of things. To me, they're all disgusting. what we do is disgusting. So, they're naturally disgusting things that the human does. Soul doesn't do it. The body does. It's like a car. It's an emission, pumping out fumes and things like that, dripping gas and all those things. It's the same. It's a temporary thing that you have to use to get around. Soul doesn't need a car. I mean, it doesn't need a body, is what I'm saying. But as long as you believe you need to have it, you're going to use it and think that's important. Why people think their car is so important in life. Why they think their house, anything is important in their life. Because they didn't understand that this is only a temporary thing. It's a stepping stone that you're supposed to step off of, not stay on. So becoming spiritual, the first thing you need to do is understand the most important thing on this planet or any other planet, that you're a soul and what that soul really is. It's not a caring, compassionate, loving being. That's not what it is. That's what mankind programmed people to believe that we are and that it is. The same as they programmed God to be that as well. Because they don't know God. Conversation with God, I wrote 1,000 letters to him in the past month. And I said, look, you ever want to talk about truth or debate your truth, please do. And I was sent letters from people showing the actual documents of him being a fraud and him admitting it. So, people are afraid to break their money wave. I mean, if they're making money on something, you think they want to break it? People won't debate me. I went on a show and he goes, oh, you're incredible. I want you on my show. I did 3 shows with them. First one we did, we had 70,000 people listening. Oh, I got to have you on. I'm going to give you your own show. I had a real famous speaker on, come on, which I thought was going to be really hard and bad. It turned out really cool. But the 3rd show I did, we had a famous person on, and he said, give him the first half hour, and then you can do whatever you want. After the half hour, I went to bring out the lies. Oh, no, don't do that. Just interview him. In other words, he was afraid to bring the truth out. After he brought me on, tells me how much he's into the truth, how we have to break all these lies. And the second I tried to do it, don't do it. I just sent him a letter to this one. I said, look, truth is all that matters. I'm not going to be pushed and shoved into a crack or be under the slave of somebody. No, I'm a realist. I'll put the truth out there until I die. And that's the way it's going to go. Truth only is my motto. Everything else is useless. And truth only means God only. So if you don't believe in God, you're nowhere near where I can take you or teach you to go or to become. If you don't believe in it, don't want to believe in it, that's your choice. Stay here in this lower realm. And that's all you can do. You can't go past the astral plane until you understand the little gods, which are called deities, and what they do and their mission and what they have to do to keep losers' souls from going into a higher place. Meaning leaving the astral plane even. So the astral plane isn't as great because everybody that dies and leaves this planet, I'm not talking about souls that stay here, the ones that leave this planet go to the astral plane. And then you get judged. No, your karma determines what's going to happen. And then you're given that by how much karma you come into that realm with. Not like, oh, I choose to go back and I want to be a king or a queen or whatever. Now in a different time frames, you change what you want to be. I want to be a millionaire, basically, when you come back. Out of all the 300 children being born every day, how many of them become millionaires? 300,000 children, how many of them would become multimillionaires in their lifetime? Karma determines that. But how many people will be born poor and homeless? A lot more. Why is that? Because they don't get the choice to move forward if you don't become aware spiritually. You create karma, you can't move forward. Buddha didn't go into details in a great way about that because they talk about reincarnation. You don't want to reincarnate, and you shouldn't want to. Well, I want to come back and be with my family. It's called attachment. Attachment is not a spiritual word. The love that we perceive is not a spiritual word. And to say that's all that matters on this planet is destructive to the human race. Even the 10 Commandments never use the word love. They didn't have love. They didn't experience love in those days either. It was created by feelings and emotions and compassion towards women, which wasn't accepted until Jesus came here. Sorry, people, love did not exist, ever. And Jesus wasn't teaching love. You can't teach love to anybody. You can only show it, and they can only feel it. And that's how you understand what it is. And if a person truly doesn't love another person, they can't get that person to experience it. People love money because they have money or power or whatever. It's not real love. And I know I really love them, but do they really love them back? Love is a two-way thing, not a one-way thing. You could love the universe, the world, the planet, dolphins, fish, and everything else, and they're all start dying, being killed, man. And no matter what you say, are you send love out? Really? Unconditional love is the most useless thing. Except when you get it, like from your dog. So, getting back to being a spiritual leader. How do you become a spiritual leader? The same way. You get two people to believe who and what you are. And then you get them to go out and say, hey, he's got it. He's got the answers. And it spreads. You get 2, you get 4, you get 8. It keeps multiplying. For every 10, you get 100. Every 100 you get 1,000. The numbers just keep multiplying. And that's how you move forward. As long as those people believe the lie that you feed them. So a spiritual leader just has to tell one good lie and get people to believe it. Conversations with God. I talk to God. Really? Oh, I would love to face him in front of 10 million people. The same as Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, any of them speakers. Dalai Lama is different. I'm not going to go into detail why, but it's different. His teachings are different. It's the first step in spiritual growth. Usually is not. It tells you there's a path there, but it doesn't give you the way and the things that Jesus actually taught. Because they didn't want to. People didn't understand it. Most of Jesus' disciples didn't understand what he was teaching. They disrespected him in a lot of ways as far as trying to kill him when he was killed. They didn't try to save him. I mean, they'd rather have him dead than not, which was really bad. And then when he died, when the body died, they all gave up on the religion. So, I mean, the story is a little twisted, but the truth is vague because they don't have any truth of what Jesus was really teaching. And I can only talk about it because I'm aware of all my past lives. And sadly, or positively, however you want to look at it, I was there when Jesus was there. I was close to him. I wasn't God. I wasn't Jesus. I was Mary Magdalene's closest friend. So I was with her the whole last month Jesus was alive. I mean, before he was imprisoned and killed, but yeah, I got to hear his truth, hear what he was teaching, what he was doing. It wasn't put in the Bible. Those people weren't able to understand half of it. Dimensions, realms, realities is the words we use, but it's realms of different realms. There's 5 realms to the soul plane where soul dwells. So Jesus spoke about that. But all the people got, the different rooms in the house. Really? What kind of house is that? Most people are stuck in the bathroom. Again, it's programmed pathetic sickness that man's growing within. All right, I'm going to try to rush through this. How does one become God? Listen for the sound. Just say you are. Tell people you are. Tell yourself you're God. You'll stop believing it. Controlling other people. It's a reminder, okay? Allowing people to be programmed by your thoughts. I call it mind control. Number one way, or a second way, is hypnosis. Hypnosis could be used in a way that it's not being aware. Kreskin, who I learned hypnotism from, I was 12 years old when I started, said it's the power of suggestion. Meaning, tell somebody that they're super powerful or they're super spiritual. A couple times, they start believing it. The subconscious mind adapts things if they hear it long enough. And usually it's 30 days, you can reprogram a person's consciousness completely. So you tell a person over and over that they're spiritual or they're this or that, they believe it. Or they're God. The only thing that's hard is trying to prove it. But there's things you can do to prove it. I was going to get into that in detail, but I'm not. One way is through magic. Real magic or fake magic. Stage magic is one, and real magic. Voodoo, witchcraft, things like that. How much can you use it? Do you use it? It can be used pretty hardcore. I did use it. I was a witch for a couple of years. Sorry, I used the word witch. It's all the same. Person that uses energy, wisely or unwisely. Black witch, white witch, and they always relate black to bad and white to good. And I mean, I saw Muhammad Ali give a lecture on that personally. And he always said devil's food cake is the black cake and angel food cake is the white cake. Why is that? So, I mean, it's how mankind related to that scenario. It's bad, but it's conditioned. It's programmed into a person. Man, is that phone going to go crazy? Well, on top of that, let's throw in, between spiritualism, the word freedom. Are you spiritually free? Yes, you are. Are you physically free? No, you're not. What does spiritual free mean? Do you have a clue? Have any kind of clue what spiritual freedom means? Versus physical freedom? We'll never have physical freedom in this reality. I'm not talking about like you have to drink, have to smoke, and have to do those things, but being able to do whatever you want, wherever you want, however you want. You can't walk around naked around the street as long as you want. Can't drive as fast as you want. You can't smoke whatever you want anywhere. I mean, it's a lot of these things that you'll never have the freedom to do because of certain people that created those scenarios of what's right and wrong. Only the rich people create them. I mean, Gandhi spent his whole life trying to bring that awareness to his people. He had a lot of people die because of fighting for that. I mean, he won in one way, but he died as he got killed in another. So where's your mission taking you? What do you think it can bring reality or yourself when you die? Because it does matter, because you die. Now, when Gandhi faced his karma, do you think it was good or bad? I'm not going to answer that, but you need to think about that. So how good is your karma and how bad is it? What did you really do to create good karma? What did you really do to create bad karma? Oh, I cursed, I lied. See, little things that we assume are not karma creating are. I mean, even in the Bible it says it. I just was dealing with two Christians, full-blooded Christians, and they were claiming all this stuff. And I said, do you ever read Revelations? Did you ever really read it? Because it says in the Bible for Christians, what sins can't be forgiven. And you don't want to read them. Not if you're a Christian, because you don't want to know that. Because it's simple and bad, because basically you're going against them. You're doing them. So how far do you think the human race is going to move forward in the next 10 years? We've got serious problems. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got my screen closed off, but I'm sorry about the people in the chat room. I really didn't read your messages. Well, somebody asked about flying cars. I don't know if you're still here, but they would take it over. A car that ran on water was invented when I was 12 years old, and that person disappeared rather fast. So yeah, they won't let it out. They don't want it out there now. Somebody talking about the Stardust Ranch. Basically, I went to the Stardust Ranch. I had Kerry Cassidy come out there for one day. I was staying there for a while. And she came out. She filmed an alien ship over the house. She filmed coming there. She was trying to driven off the road 3 times, she said. She stayed there half a day, and then she left. But the Stardust Ranch is probably one of the most dangerous, crazy places you ever want to go. If you want to see alien ships, spirits, demons, it's a cool place to go. If you're a little bit protected. If you're not, I would say don't even try to go there. All right, sorry about that. I'm just trying to read them now. I got caught up. Hi everybody out there. Sorry. What is good? Oh man, what did I do? I lost my. What about using open portholes to bring dimensional beings? Is a bad thing. All right. Uh, Dimensional beings are not beneficial. Blood sacrifice is not a good thing either. Again, it's going against the spiritual laws of non-interference. Any of those things, nothing like that's beneficial to the human race. You meet with your guides inside your reality, not other people's reality. They teach you truth. It's not other people's truth. I'm not saying you can't bring it out, but it's your truth that they're teaching you. And usually it's not the same for everybody else. We could believe and say what we want, but it's different for everybody. And what we're going to do and learn from that is so different. Now, sorry, I use, when I do a show tomorrow, and I have another person on, and she always tells me the questions in the chat room. Let's see. Hold on. Some destinations trying to post things, I know I get cut off, blocked, and everything. Right now, they block about every email I send. They block it, whether it's site, AOL. Get emails every day. Well, your message was not allowed, or it was allowed, and things like that. Truth is being blocked in a lot of ways. Spiritual truth is a little different because nobody's putting it out there, and the government really doesn't care about these other people putting all these lies out there. Realize they're prepared for that. They set up FEMA camps to take religionist people and things like that, when it's going to be the mark of the beast, and all those things are going to happen sooner than ever. We're so close to the mark of the beast, which means putting a chip inside your body so they can determine what you do with your body, what you did, and all those other things. We're at a serious point in history, in the history of the world, history of the universe. Aliens are here in a good way. They're out over me, blinking at me and things like that every night, but I'm still waiting for them to have a real conversation. But I'm going to go a little bit longer. So there's a few more things I wanted to get through. Back to the word freedom. You don't have the freedom to hurt somebody else. There's no such word for freedom to do that. We were allowed to be a free country. The native people thought they were free. It didn't help them much, did it? Black people are freed now, more so than the native people are. And why is that? See, it's twisted. Government is always going to be twisted because they're rich people. Rich people don't care about poor people, really. If you go to a rich millionaire, or let's say 10 billionaires, you think they want to live in the ghettos of Harlem? You think they would? Could you pay them enough to live there? Of course not. They would have to blow up the whole town and then put their house there. So the conversation, we're dealing with freedom. If you talk to somebody about it, oh, I'm free to what? What are you free to do? Go to the bathroom, wash your hands, wash your face. I mean, little things that we say we have freedom to do. Some countries don't even have water, or have very little water, and things like that. So where you are on the planet determines the amount of freedom you have. We have a little more freedom than most countries do. That's true. Don't have the freedom to do all the things you want, though. Not even half of the things you want. So freedom's not the word that we should really be focused on. Black people want freedom. Freedom in what? They want to take over cities and they say they deserve it. The native people deserve the United States. They should throw everybody off of it. Half-bloods will be a little bit different, but anybody that's not even slightly blood-related should be thrown off the planet of the United States. Really? Send them back to Italy, France, Rome, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, and all these countries where they all came from. China. So, we talk stupid. We're ignorant. And then when you build a revolution, which is happening, all morals are gone, all truth is gone, and it's only twisted ego. Now, you don't see people forming mass riots to stop children from being abused. You don't see it for women being abused. You don't see it for important things that are more concerning right now. This whole thing started over maybe two people. Two people. How many children are raped in a day or in an hour? So, you talk about why are we fighting for one thing? Because people are twisted, programmed, locked into false ideas of truth and of spirituality, of religion. Religion's not a bad word, unless you talk about certain religions, but it's not programming you into killing people or allowing you to kill people. But then again, Christians shouldn't be going to war. They should have never allowed themselves to go to war to kill people, because that's going against the spiritual law, which created karma for themselves, period. You can't say I did it for the president. You can't say I killed people because the president said so. Tell that to God. Tell that to an angel. Well, the president told me to kill these people, so I did. Really? We create laws to make us as a man happy. 98% of the laws are based on man's ego, perception, and limited awareness, which they have none. Okay? So how far did we come as a race? Boxing, wrestling, strongman fighting, and things like that. Never mind football, basketball, hockey. What are they beneficial for? Anything? We don't do things to make things better. Sports don't help to make things better. It makes a couple people millionaires. That's about it. Football players shouldn't be getting paid that kind of money. Baseball players, all those people shouldn't be getting paid that kind of money. Two boxers beating each other up made $150 million 2 years ago. Really? To beat somebody up, to try to beat somebody up, $150 million. And that's what each one of them got paid. So all that money wasted because two people were fighting and beating each other up. It shows you the sickness of the human race. I mean, it never changed. After Atlantis was destroyed, it became the sport. Gladiators, they even show you how bad it is. Go back, if you can time travel or go back in your past lives, go back to when the gladiators were real. The torches and the things that actually happened in the ring. I don't even think they could show any of that on TV. Well, now, what actually went on in the arenas and stuff like that. So, and we didn't move forward much. I know in other countries, in Thai boxing, they fight until somebody dies or is unconscious. So it's when Thai boxing came to the United States, called kickboxing, there was a lot things taken off of it, like you could wear gloves and things, and so you don't really destroy the other person. But we're a pathetic race. What we put our money on and what money's spent on, it's sad. We could change the reality within a couple of months if we were caring, loving people like everybody says they spiritual. I'm spiritual and I'm loving. I send unconditional love. Unconditional love means you're just throwing love in a garbage can. That's all it's doing. So all these new age fools claiming all these things aren't helping mankind move forward. Killings, murders, and deaths is the same, not decreasing, not stopping. Abuse is escalated to the max. It's the highest it has ever been. The numbers are so high for children, even children's child sales, and all those kind of things. I don't see people lining up on the street stopping that, trying to, because it's inside the government. Nobody's even talking about that right now. All right, I don't want to go too far into that. It's so pathetic, so sad. And we're not doing a thing about it. And we're more concerned about Trump coming out. He's supposed to be in quarantine for 14 days, but he's not now. Why is that? Why is he allowed not to be in quarantine? Oh, he's moving to the White House. Oh, let's expose people in the White House. Are they going to clean every room and everything everywhere he goes? If he goes into the bathroom, he goes out to eat. Are they going to sterilize? And who's going to touch those things? He's still contagious, or can be. His wife can still be contagious. All the people that he contaminated are probably in the same boat as him. Are they all in quarantine, every one of them? And are they staying in for 14 days? Or they say, well, I got this medicine, now I could go out. Like Trump's medicine didn't help him, did it? His, uh, I hate to go down to this level. It's the lowest the world has ever been, especially the United States. Uh, Republicans and Democrats should be talking about really trying to make the United States a better place. Not about attacking another person, not about talking about who's doing what to each other. No, how about what we're doing to help mankind move forward and save mankind, not destroy it? Well, we screwed up so bad, and it doesn't seem like we're pulling out of it anytime soon. Well, I wanted to just bring up healers real fast, because everybody's going to healers and psychics now. Psychics read energy, psychic energy meaning energy that's residue. When a person dies, they leave residue energy here. That can be read, and that's what a lot of psychics read. That's how they know a lot about a soul, because that soul could already been reincarnated back on the planet again. So to say he's up in heaven, sending this person love and protection and protecting him is all delusional. They stay there for an average soul goes to the astral plane for 10 years, 5 to 10 years before they reincarnate. I mean, they could stay there a little longer, and it all depends on karma, how much they have, how fast they're going to have to come back and start working it off. You don't get to enjoy a peaceful state if you have a lot of karma, just so you know. So if you have a lot of karma, you'll be back pretty fast. If your karma is real little, you get to relax and start thinking about moving forward again, so that when you come back here, maybe you'll become aware of your past life or something, or start looking into that. It's a slow process. It takes lifetimes and lifetimes to become aware of who and what you were, what you did. Hopefully you're at the point where you want to do that. I'm not going to say anything I can give you could make you instantly get rid of all your karma. When these psychics tell their people they clear them of all their karma, and I feel sorry they take money to tell you that. They should be all locked up and put in jail. Nobody can take somebody else's karma. And the only way that happens is you marry somebody or become a part of a relationship where you share the same bread every day and things like that. But that means you doubled your karma. You didn't get rid of your karma, you just doubled it. Because you're both working out each other's karma as well. You'll probably have about the same much karma in most cases. And it's who's at the top, who's at the bottom, ready to deal with it. But it still has to be paid, and nobody's going to wave their magic wand over you and get rid of it. Karma is the most important word on this planet if you're thinking about moving forward. Somebody asked me if being abused is karma. Of course it is. I've been abused, so I know how much karma it is and how much it was. But it's also helps you deal with future karma and how to relate to karma and create and uncreate. I got a book. It's just about done. Just playing games because I don't know who I could get to edit it. It's about rape, abuse, and all those kind of words. But most people won't want to read it because they'd be afraid to relive that, even though it's meant to help them get over it and beyond that, to understand it, to look at karma and why we deal with those things. Sometimes, the saying, you can go through all these things and nothing makes you wake up until you get hit in the head, or somebody smacks you in the face and says, wake up. I mean, you could be living in a dream, and then somebody pushes you and knocks you out of the bed and you wake up. I mean, sometimes it takes a real hard thing to wake you up, to get you out of where you would have been if you didn't. I mean, a lot of people in sexual abuse become that as well. Selling themselves out or becoming a sexual slave master and things like that. All those kind of things becomes part of their reality. It's a horrible thing. I'm not saying it's good in any way, except for making you realize you need to take another step. So, like I said, I got this book. It's almost done. I didn't give it a title yet. I don't know the proper title, but I want to make sure that if I put a title on it, it doesn't completely scare everybody away. Because abuse of any kind is hard to deal with. And most people keep that all their lives. It just doesn't disappear. But being able to understand that it's the body that went through it, and you're going to let go of this body, you can let go of that scenario as well with it. Because soul doesn't have to be in these experiences if it already was aware and didn't go through all the karma that it created. But somewhere along the road, the abuse happened in your reality, in some lifetime. Most parents abuse their children. How many really admit it or understand it or know what they're doing to their children? I could write a book on all the times I was abused when I was little by my mother or my father. More so my father, sorry, but it was always there. So to say that we don't create karma, oh, I'm a good person. I mean, how many families when you see the daughter, mother and father, either one, they're doing things together, they're smiling, they really, you can see them look at each other and say, I love you, and all those kind of things. I mean, I could almost cry every time I see a couple and a family that really respond and work with each other. I mean, like on these music shows, when you see the mother and father there, and when they come off the stage and stuff like that, you see how connected they are. But then again, I worked in families. I went in 10 houses a day in the ghettos and saw how people live in abusive situations, which 99% of them are. So karma is a horrible word, but it's the most important word because it's horrible because it's something that you have to face. It's like facing the dragon within or the dark night of soul. You got to face it and then go through it. By that, if you can make it through, you can move forward and then break off a lot of your karma. But if you hold on to that, it'll pull you down and create more karma. Because when you become abusive to your own children and everything else, it's just laid on top of each other over and over. So I'm going to cut it off there. I could go into a few things. I really want to get in a few more things in, but Billy Joel sang a song, Only the Good Die Young. Think about it. The longer you live, the more karma you're paying off. So if you're young and you leave, hopefully you had your karma paid off and you don't have to reincarnate. But understanding this realm and dimension, I didn't get into that too heavy today, but I will next time. Where we are in this dimension, what reality aliens is. I always wanted to come out because I had it happen in my life most of my life. It started when I was 6 as well. But people are giving it the wrong attention. They're still trying to prove ships are flying over us. So what? What are they flying over us for? Why do they come here? All those things, people don't want to hear that. They're just learning how to accept that there's ships flying around our planet. And they're still debating that. Oh, it's a Russian ship. It's a German ship. It's a Chinese ship. No, it's not. It's real simple. How fast is it really going? And what is it doing? I mean, we used to film ships in the afternoon. We could film 10 ships in a half hour. They're not stopping and coming down here. Wow, look at planet Earth. They're just zooming by. All right. So it's not like they all have a mission coming here to be with people or see what we're doing. Some do. But they got their own agenda, looking for where they want to take water from, plants, animals, and people. I mean, they got their own agenda, which leads them to do the things they do. And a lot more people are getting abducted, disappearing, and those words. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Tomorrow I do a show with Tina Bird. She's in England, and she's been abducted half of her life. She's one of the few people that I believe totally can go on, and she agrees with me totally as well. There's no such thing as good aliens, whether you want to hear that or not. Oh, I work with a good alien. And what do they do for you? Please, prove it. Prove they can do something beneficial to the human race. But they can't, and they're not going to. It's not their agenda to make humans better. And they are controlled by Satan as well. So it's not like they go into God and say, God, well, we're good aliens. What do we do? And the old saying, if you could watch one child die on your own watch, you're a pathetic, sick person. If you can't get involved, oh, well, I want to save the whole world. No, save the percentage of children being abused right now. Just save the children being killed right now. Don't save the rest of the world. Just save that. And they can't even come down to do that. Well, we're not ready. We're not ready to save children. So the whole scenario is so pathetic, twisted, abused by the human thinking. It's so sad. And all these UFO people want to make money, which they're doing, telling you stupid stories, brainwashing you to believe that there's some alternate, we're all going to be spiritual soon. No, we're not. Spiritual means letting go of this reality. There's nothing spiritual going on here. So I know it's a lot of stuff that you might not want to believe in. Being abused is definitely karma, just so you know. And I know we don't all go through it the same way. Like I said, family abuse is not recognized. Major rape and things like that are. So abuse is limited to the level of the person's awareness. I mean, children that have sex with their parents and don't even know it, don't even know it's wrong, and grow up not even knowing that it was wrong. So, you know, we're in this place where if a younger child, knows they can make a fortune by taking their clothes off, like one of the most richest women in the United States right now, does it. I hope you know who I mean, but she's the richest girl in the United States right now. And she's a fame of the most richest family, who are the most sexual people on TV, and out there, mainstream. So guess what family it is? I'm sure you know. But realize where you go with money. Nowhere. So hopefully, any questions, please email me, text me, hawksblood1@aol.com. Anytime. I'm as real as it can get. I'm as honest as it can get. I'll tell you anything you want to know, good, bad, or indifferent, about my life, about where I came from, what I did, how I got here. My first 2 books are free. I got them as ebooks. If you want them, email me. My newest book, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization, is the most important thing I ever wrote. And I don't care how many people read it, because people aren't ready for the truth. And they sure don't want to know the truth about Jesus. Aliens don't want to even talk about it and can't. And I don't want to go into that right now. But as far as people, they don't want to know that their Bible is not even half close to the truth. So please, don't think that when you read something makes it real, and the older it was when it was written makes it real either. If we're storytellers now, what were we in those days? When nobody could prove anything they said. So think about it. We're living in a time zone where it's the most critical of people to grow or to decrease in awareness. And just look at reality and you'll see which way we're going. So peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life. Hope you're looking for it, finding it, and going to work to get it. Otherwise, you're a victim of this planet. Don't think Trump's going to help you or anybody else is. They're not. Making you feel good if they give you $1,000 next week would make you feel good for what? How long? A week? A month? If that. So I tell it like it is. Please send this link to everybody you know or you can. You heard it here. And I'm a rebel. I'll challenge, debate any single person out there mainstream, because I don't want to deal with people that have no clue what they're talking about. People that think they do and try to preach to the world that they do. They're the people I want to go after. Because all these people getting the wrong idea, wrong truth, wrong belief, and believe they're spiritual. So, till next time, thank you for coming in. Thank you for stopping in the chat room. Send this link out to everybody you can. It will be around for a while. I mean, it'll be online. It's on Facebook. It's on Link. It's on Twitter. And it's on YouTube. So, well, thanks again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Keep it going. Just email me, hawksblood1@aol.com. I'll send you my first book, second book. My last book, I didn't make it into an ebook yet, so I can't give it away. But it's out there if you want to buy it. It's only like $10, $15. But like I said, it'd probably be the most important thing you could read right now to understand the truth, what Jesus really did and why he came here. So it's been a pleasure, like it always is. I give myself as much as I can to the world in my moment that I have on this show. So thank you all. Peace.